Hey guys, I just wanted to give you a little hint on this problem from your quiz on Pythagorean Theorem. And so this problem says a baseball diamond is a square with sides of 90 feet. What is the shortest distance to the nearest tenth of a foot between first base and third base? Okay, so if I drew this out, so if we go from home to first base, to second base, excuse my not straight lines, to third base, to back to home. Okay, so pretend that that's a square because it doesn't look like one, but which means that this would be a right angle. Okay, and all of those would be right angles. So what the question is asking is, what is the shortest distance between first base and third base? So that's this distance right here. Okay, and so when we're talking about the Pythagorean theorem, the sides that are connected to your right angle are your A and B in that theorem. So remember that it's A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Okay, so that's your Pythagorean theorem. So these two sides would be your A and B, and it doesn't matter which one is which because they're the same. Because it says that you have sides of 90 feet. Okay, so this would be 90, and this would be 90. And then you're looking for this side right there, okay, which would be your C, because that's your hypotenuse, the side that's across from your right angle. Okay, so once you know that, all you have to do is substitute into this formula. So you'd have 90 squared plus 90 squared equals, whoops, not Z, equals C squared. Okay, so then we're just going to figure out 90 squared plus 90 squared. So if you don't know 90 squared, just bring up your calculator. So 90, you can just do 90 times 90, or if your computer will do it, or your calculator will square it, just square it. Okay, so that's 8,100. So we have 8,100 plus 8,100 equals C squared. Okay, so then I'm going to add those two together, which is going to be 16,200 equals C squared. And then your last step on pretty much all of these problems is going to be to square root. So that's how you do the opposite of squaring something, is you're going to square root it on both sides. Okay, and so the square root of C squared is just C, and then you just have to find the square root of 16,200. Okay, so I'm going to pull up my calculator again. We're going to do 16,200, and we're going to square root it. Okay, and so that's 127 point, I forgot already, 0.28, okay, or 127.3. Just know that I'm pretty flexible on how you round things, so don't stress too much about the rounding. Okay, but that would be your answer. So it'd be 127.28 feet from first base to third base. Okay, so that's how you do that. Now, the other thing that they will sometimes have you do, and I'm going to just clear that whole thing off. And I'm just going to show you how it works without doing the actual problem. So like if you ended up getting a problem that was the square root of 90, okay, and they wanted you to just simplify this square root instead of find what it equals with a calculator. So, because if we just did this in a calculator, it's going to give you some decimal. In fact, I can't even tell you what it is. So if we had 90 and we did the square root, so that it'd be 9.4868, whatever, okay? But sometimes they want you to simplify it instead of calculate it that way. So what you have to do is you have to find numbers that are perfect squares. So like 9, for example, because 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 4 is 16, 5 times 5 is 25. So 9, 16, and 25 are your perfect squares because you can square root them and they come out evenly. Okay, so like 9, for example, would be a perfect square on this one because you can divide 9 out. So if we said 9 times 10, and that's still under our square root. Okay, so 9 times 10 is 90. So all I'm doing is just breaking that apart into two numbers. And then you try to take the square root of each of those numbers. Okay, so then you take the square root of 9, and it's times the square root of 10. Okay, so the square root of 9 is easy. It's 3. Okay, square root of 10, we don't know. It is not 5. Don't try to say that it's 5. 5 plus 5 is 10. 5 times 5 is not 10. Okay, so then the only thing we could break 10 down into is 2 and 5, and we can't take the square root evenly of either of those, which you could test on a calculator. And so if you can't break it down anymore, then that would be your simplified answer. Okay, so that's how the simplifying works. I know there's a couple of problems that ask you to do that too. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. And as always, if you send me an email with one sentence saying what you learned on this video, bonus points for you.